Thank you for coming this afternoon, everybody. I'm going to call this meeting to order, the Northampton License Commission, October 15th, 4 p.m. Present this afternoon, myself, Natasha Yakovlev, Commissioners Jennifer Ewers and Amy Cahalan. And as a reminder, this meeting is being Zoom recorded. And we have a few public hearings this afternoon. There is a public comment section specific for those. If you're here for general public comment, then now is your time to raise your Zoom hand and let us know. And I don't see anybody. Do you, Annie?
I do not.
It's been a long time since we've had 25 people at a license commission meeting. All right, so then we're going to jump into it, but I do want to just skip ahead if there are no objections to the new business item, which was an application for a short-term liquor license for Pedigo Services Corporation, DBA Quonk. This is for Saturday, October 18th, 2025, 8 p.m. to 11:59 p.m. at 122 Main Street. And this is a dance party with a wine and malt license being sought. And do we have...
Could have swore I just let him in.
Jonathan?
Yeah, I do not see him anymore.
Okay,
Although
I thought we could meet him first and save him.
Jake might be with him too.
Yes, this is Jake and Jonathan here.
Hi there. How are you? Do we still have them?
Oh, I think they...
Sorry, I remuted myself. Yes, yes, I'm good. Thank you.
Put the video on.
Okay, good. Can you just let us know your names for the record?
Sure. I'm Jonathan Pedigo.
And I'm Jake Gibson.
Hello, thank you for coming. Do you want to just share a little bit about the event you are having this weekend?
Yes. Yeah, sure. It's just a dance party. And it's goth masquerade themed.
All right. And where is 122 Main Street? Which location is that?
We're downstairs under Pinocchio's
Under
Pizza.
Pinocchio. Yep. Okay, great. And have you had an event like this before where you've served wine and malt?
Yeah, we had a medieval tavern a couple weekends ago.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Same location. I was going to say this is familiar.
Yeah.
Okay, how did it go?
It was great. It was great. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Jennifer and Amy, questions or comments for Jake and John?
No questions, and the paperwork's complete. Thank you.
I'm all set as well.
Wonderful. Then, did you guys have anything else that you wanted to add about your event?
No, not necessarily.
Okay, great. Then I think we're ready for a vote.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the application for a short-term liquor license for Pedigo Services Corporation for Saturday, October 18th, 2025, as detailed as item 10 of our agenda.
I'll second.
Natasha,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
and Amy.
Yes.
Excellent. All right, thank you. Moving on then with the agenda. First up, we have a public hearing on an application for a change of location and change of DBA on an annual all alcohol general on-premise license. This is 41 Strong Avenue, LLC, DBA Luna. Location change from 41 Strong Ave to 300 Pleasant Street. The DBA change from Bishop's Lounge to Luna, and the proposed manager is Carla Racine. And I would like to make a motion to reopen the continuation of the discussion from our public hearing 1 month ago.
Second.
Natasha,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
and Amy.
Yes.
All right. And do we have Carla here?
Hi,
All right. Hello, Carla. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Do you want to let us know where you are in your process? When we left the continuation last month, it was intended for you to have time to get your sign-offs from building, fire, and health department.
I've met with all of them, and there's a architectural overview that has to happen. And once that's completed, there's a couple things that have to be put into the space. So there still needs to be more time, but I asked for some special consideration regarding the licensing move due to the kind of the the intense situation regarding my move to begin with, and I had sent an email to Annie, as I would rather not discuss that matter publicly. And don't know if you've
That's
gotten
fine.
that copy of that email.
Yep, no, you don't have to discuss that publicly. There's,
Thank you.
yep, no, I think we have enough to talk about. I'm gonna ask Kevin to be available for this discussion. And are the other department heads here? Do we have fire and health?
We have health.
I don't believe anybody from fire is here.
Okay. If the health department, oh, here we go, I see health. Yeah, I think if we could have health and building department and fire, if they pop in, make themselves available for a few questions, that would be helpful. Kevin, I'll start with you. I'm and Carla as well. So I'm noticing the application that we're reviewing today is the same as the application that we had before. So we still have an occupancy of 49.
That's with 2 bathrooms. I didn't realize I needed to put in another application for today. We would settle for just the occupancy that it's available for right now, which is 20. It's more a matter of moving the license so I can be finished with my relationship at 41 Strong LLC. I mean, 41 Strong Avenue.
Okay, and Kevin, can you just bring us up to date on where you are at with this process?
Yeah, so last Wednesday, I believe we met on site with Carla, Chief Pelis, Captain Davis, and Donna Bowman from Health Department to see the space and walk through it. So we did walk through it and, told Carla what the steps are to go, that we need an existing building code review done to assess what the space is now, what the proposed use is going to be, and by doing that, the design professional architect in the code review would say, okay, you need to have a 3-bay sink, a hand sink, a service sink, X amount of fire extinguishers. He may or may not have to have fire alarm, the pole stations up there, but that's what the existing building code review will tell us what needs required in that space.
And that's
operate what she wants to do.
right, so larger than a capacity of 49 and certainly larger than 20.
So right now she has 1 bathroom in the space, so that would give her an occupancy of 20.
Yes,
There
and
are 2 other additional bathrooms downstairs. Don't know if with her lease agreement or rental agreement, if she has access to those 2 bathrooms.
Yeah.
So if she has access to those, that would increase the occupant load. But we could also cap it at 49 to stop the requirements of having it sprinklered.
okay, but if she wanted to go larger than 49, she would have to have a sprinkler installed.
Correct.
Okay. And so I know that a variance was approved so that her use is now B use. Could you explain what activities will be allowed now that that variance was approved?
So a B use is 49 or lower for an occupant load. So which it could be food, alcohol, all that would still be considered a B use group with a 49 or lower. Once you hit 50 or above, it goes to the A2 use group, which triggers a lot more requirements.
Okay, so with the 49 and under, there could still be music, recorded music, live music, readings, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, there's a number of establishments in the city that have all those, and they are B use groups. Correct.
Okay. And so you did your walkthrough last Wednesday?
Correct.
Was there any contact in the weeks prior to last Wednesday in the lead up to this walkthrough since our last meeting?
So we were supposed to, I think, meet the week before, but Carla had to reschedule.
Okay.
And she did come in. I did talk to her the Friday after the meeting, the first meeting. She came in the office. I spoke to her she came in the office, spoke with her here, and then she has called maybe 3 times 4 times, so we have been talking.
Okay, thank you. And Health Department. Did you have anything that you wanted to share from your perspective?
Hi there. The inspectors have communicated on and off with her from the time that she closed at Bishop's Lounge and having thoughts about it. They were out to, all 4 inspectors were out to do kind of like a courtesy walkthrough prior to last week with Kevin and Fire. Donna also went out there. It's kind of what we need is like a permit application that describes what is she going to do, who's the contacts, who's that kind of very basic permit application. And then what we have is like a plan review that really describes what is it that you'll be doing there. And that we've, told her that that's required for us to do our review. Fire and building has to have their okay on it before we can kind of step in. We're always, kind of trailing in the background, providing guidance, moving them along, with what they need to do. But we haven't received any of that yet. I think that, again, that now Carla seems to be going back to, fire and building to get what she needs through them.
Okay. Jennifer and Amy. Some questions from you.
I have I guess, a procedural question. I feel like Carla's done a fair amount of work since our last meeting. I'm not really sure why there's this impending Friday deadline, but I'm wondering what flexibility or what ability we have to approve a transfer contingent on things happening to this new location. I don't know if that was a coherent question.
No, it makes
Maybe Annie. Because I feel like she's making a good faith effort, and I think that things are moving along, and so I'm just curious about whether we have the ability to do something in the interim or whether we need to wait until everybody has checked all the boxes.
normally our preference is to wait till everybody's checked all the boxes. So we know the license, we know what the license is being relocated to. And the reason we continued from last time was because we didn't know what the license was being relocated to. I believe, unless Annie disagrees, it is within our purview to make an approval that is contingent on these other issues coming together. But I think also there has to be a time frame within that happens. The specific issue of things happening by Friday is completely outside of anything actually we need to consider, because we know nothing about this. That's a matter between the license holder and previous landlord. Annie, do you have anything to add to that in terms of procedural stuff?
I think everything you just said, Natasha, was right on. I don't know about approving a license contingent upon all of this stuff happening, because once a license is approved, it needs to go to the ABCC. And then the ABCC would do a site visit, and then I think they'd find the same issues.
Okay. So there's no time frame tied to it in terms of when a business opens. It's just because there's so much left that needs to do, including having the ABCC come.
Right. I mean, there is the question of a pocket license, and that is generally 6 months, give or take.
Yes, please. Pocket license me.
Jennifer, do you have any thoughts?
My question about this hearing is, are we addressing all issues attached to the license? I mean, I know in our last hearing, we also, questions were asked about liquor purchases. I mean, are we revisiting all issues from our last hearing?
That was a separate issue that we'll discuss. We'll get an update on later in the meeting, but
Thank you.
if it's found that there were any violations, that would be a separate hearing.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, so today we're still just discussing the relocation of the license and the items that remain needing.
Perfect. Okay, and are we missing an update from the fire department?
I mean, we don't have anyone from fire here, but it sounds like, you know, their fire and building are.
Kevin has the info. Yeah.
Oh, yep. Yep, Kevin's hands up. Kevin.
Yeah, so their main concern is whether if it needs pull stations for the fire alarm, since it's on the second floor by the egresses. That's their biggest concern. Because there currently are no pull stations there now.
Yep. All right. Carly, did you have anything else that you wanted to add before the commissioners discuss?
No, I just appreciate your consideration. You know,
Okay.
I'd like to be able to meet all the criteria and be able to have a thriving business again in Northampton. And you know, this is just a process, and you know, my fate lies in your hands. And I appreciate your consideration.
Okay. Health and building, did you folks want to add anything else?
I don't think so. I think, we would just wait to get the paperwork that we need, do a review. It's a food code review. Again, we always communicate with fire and building to see where they're at.
You're all set, Kevin?
So my question is, I guess if you do transfer it, can there be stipulations that she can't open until all the work is complete? Because
Yes.
we've run into another business where they've been open and haven't met requirements still, and then they're still working on it. And I know Carla has says that she plans on doing it. It's just, I don't know if a stipulation could be there that she can't open until everything's required.
Yep, no, absolutely. I think it would be, it's not my preference to approve a relocation without having everything in order. So if we decide to do that, I would want it to have those stipulations.
Okay.
Okay. So since this was a continuation, commissioners will have our discussion now and take our vote on this. Amy, you mentioned you feel like Carly's been doing some of her diligence on this, and you would be willing to move this forward?
I do. I recognize that this Friday deadline is outside of our purview. But I would feel differently if this meeting was happening and I felt like nothing had gone on in the interim. But I feel like things have. And so I'd like to try to meet the business owner on our end as well. And I don't know exactly what that would look like, but I'd be open to approving a relocation contingent on meeting all of the needs. I know that's not your preference, but in this particular circumstance, I'd advocate for that.
Okay. Jennifer?
Yes, no, absolutely. I agree with Amy that I think a contingency on, my hang up is the safety. Missing safety pieces.
Yep.
So I really want those addressed, but it takes time. I realize that too.
Sure. So this would be an approval of the relocation of the license contingent upon sign off from building, fire, and health departments.
Yes.
Okay. I could stand behind that with you guys. If somebody would like to make a motion.
Can we close the public hearing?
Yes, make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
I heard Amy's voice. Natasha,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
and Amy.
Yes. I can try for a motion, Natasha, if you're ready.
Yes, I am ready.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to approve the change of location and change of DBA on an annual all alcohol general on-premise license for 41 Strong LLC DBA Luna from 41 Strong Ave to 300 Pleasant Street as outlined in agenda item 3, contingent on sign off by fire, health, and building on any necessary requirements associated with the license.
Second.
Natasha,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
and Amy.
Yes.
They approved it. You won? I don't know what's gonna happen next.
All right, and let's move on to the next. Thank you, everybody. The next agenda item, we have a public hearing on an application for a new annual wine and malt general on-premise license and application for a common victular license and entertainment license for Analog Output LLC, DBA Sound, 185 Main Street, proposed manager Gregory Stutzman, proposed entertainment, listening lounge with in-house and guest DJs, selecting records, recorded and live music with amplification. Proposed hours of entertainment are Monday through Saturday, 10 to 12 a.m. and Sundays, 1 to 12 a.m. And who do we have with us? Hello. I think we're still muted, Annie.
Beautiful. Thanks a lot.
Hi there.
Hi. For the record, Tom Reedy. I'm an attorney with Bacon Wilson out of Amherst here on behalf of Analog Output and Greg Stutzman, who's the proposed manager for the site. As you noted, Madam Chair, annual general on-premises wine and malt license plus the entertainment and common vic license, 185 Main Street in Northampton. It's, if you read the brief narrative, it's about it's essentially a tea house and a listening lounge. Greg, the proposed manager, has extensive experience. If you looked at his resume, he runs the quarters in Hadley, the archives in Amherst. He's going to make sure all of his employees are tip certified. He's tip certified. And I think he's going to have a ID scanner on the premises as well. He knows what he's doing. I think this is a great addition to downtown and a cool alternative to some other places. So I'm happy to answer any questions. I can get into more detail if you want.
Okay, great. Yeah, no, his reputation precedes him in terms of his entrepreneurship and the businesses that he's opened up in the Valley. So I am excited to see what he does and really appreciative for his investment downtown.
Natasha, we need to open the public hearing.
Oh gosh, it is. Okay, make a motion to open the public hearing. Sorry about that.
Second.
Natasha,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
and Amy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Yeah, so it's exciting to know that he's going to be doing this, and he has a lot of experience with all alcohol licenses as well as wine and malt. Jennifer and Amy, questions and comments?
This is the Haymarket space, yes?
Mhm.
Are there residential units above it still that are occupied or no?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that.
I believe
guess-
not occupied.
Okay.
And we need to ask if anyone's here for public comment too.
I thought that came at the end. You want to do that first?
Public comment for the public hearing?
Yeah, for after discussion.
I mean, you can do it however you'd like. We usually do it right after the vote to open, but it's up to you.
Kevin, you have your hand raised. Let's hear from the building.
Yep, so I can answer that question. Right now, there's active building permits out for that whole property. They are going to be renovating the 4 units above the space, kitchens, bathrooms, closing out some doorways. So I don't believe they're occupied now with the renovations going on. I believe there is a sprinkler system being installed into that building. And then the only other code requirement for that space, it would have to have an entertainment response system added into the fire alarm because of the music, the alcohol, and later the normal operating hours. So if the fire alarm did activate, the house lights would come on and the music would be cut.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm hung up on process here, so I apologize about this for everybody, but is there anybody here for public comment this afternoon on this particular hearing item? And I see one hand, Jordy Harold.
True.
Could you just state your name for the record, even though I just did it for you?
Thank you for doing that for me. I'm Jordy Harold.
Thank you for coming this afternoon.
Would you like me to comment now?
Yes, please.
I think it's wonderful that something will happen in that space. That space has been a part of what has kept Northampton vibrant for more than 30 years. And I think Greg's a remarkable operator and has a high aesthetic. And I am also, in full disclosure, his direct abutter at 177 to 181 Main Street. And it's been an excellent working relationship. And I have high hopes for what he's doing in the building.
Excellent. Thank you. Do we have anybody else who has public comment regarding 185 Main? Okay, seeing nobody. Jennifer and Amy, do you have any further questions for the attorney?
I do not.
I do not either.
Okay. Anything else from Attorney Reedy before we close the public hearing?
No, thank
Okay.
you very much.
Or then make a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Natasha, Jennifer,
Yes.
and Amy.
Yes.
Okay, so I think we're all on the same page with this one. A motion to move forward will need to include the information from building department regarding the entertainment response system.
So are you gonna require something to be signed off on by building before the entertainment license gets issued?
Kevin, would you require that? I mean, I think oh wait, hold on, Kevin.
So there's still work going on there now. So I believe that they can work on the entertainment response now, because I know it just got updated with a new fire alarm system within the past year or so. So while the work is going on in there, they can do it. And then when they call for final inspections, we can inspect that during that time. So before they can open, we would just have to test that. If that makes sense.
It does.
Commissioner Ross, would you be comfortable if we asked for your sign off, or do you want us to include fire? I'm a little uncomfortable today that the fire department's not represented, and I feel like we're asking you to.
So it would be sign offs from both. It's a requirement from
Okay.
both departments.
Thank you. Thank you for specifying. Yep.
You're welcome.
Amy, do you have any final thoughts?
I do not. I'm all set.
Then I think we're ready for a motion.
So I will make a motion to approve the individual wine and malt license, general and victular license, and entertainment license for Analog Output LLC, doing business as Sound on 185 Main Street, contingent upon the sign off from our building commissioner and the fire department for the entertainment response system, as detailed in item 4 of our agenda.
Second.
Natasha,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
and Amy.
Yes.
All right, very good. Thank you. Next item, we have a hearing relative to potential modification of entertainment license held by Sirius Hospitality Group, LLC, DBA, Telus, and the Satellite Bar located at 150 Main Street, lower level. and make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second,
Natasha,
Yes.
Jennifer,
yes.
and Amy.
Yes.
All right. And do we have anyone here for public comment related to this issue? And I see some hands coming up.
Sorry, Natasha. I know, so we're, for an entertainment hearing, we need to hear from the applicant first.
So we're hearing from the complainant first or the license holder first?
The applicant, the license, or the license holder.
Okay, great. Then tell us, who do we have with us? Amanda. Oh.
Hi,
Hi there, how are you?
good. How are you? We're
Good.
both
Can you
good
just,
now.
great. Can you just let us know your names for the record?
Amanda Reisling.
Dan Bowie.
Thank you for coming.
Mhm.
So, we've received some complaints regarding the sound issues, and fights outside in the parking lot and things of that nature. And so we just wanted to bring everybody in and hear from you guys, hear from the folks who have some concerns, hear from the police department. So do you want to let us know, like, I know your nightclub is Friday and Saturday nights.
That's correct.
Do you just want to share, just paint the picture for us, what you guys are doing Friday and Saturday nights, what your hours are?
You can do it.
Okay, generally open format, DJing from 10 to 1:40. And then some targeted theme nights, but you know, we do a monthly queer night, we do a drag show.
And do you have, is there ever a line out the door on these nights? How are you managing the door?
There's often a line there's often a line. We have, of course, a door person. We also have people, we have a second person that wands people as they come in to make sure they're not bringing anything that they should not be bringing in. And then when there's lights out right outside our door that I can manage from my iPhone to change the color when we're at capacity. So they'll generally be green until we're full, and then I turn red, and then it's as a, like, you know, 1 in, 1 out is our policy.
Okay.
And sometimes those nights there are nights where it never goes back to green, and so then there may be people waiting outside.
And about how long would you estimate the line is? Like how many people on your busiest night?
I mean, busiest nights are like New Year's Eve, Halloween. It can be really long.
Like 20 people, 30 people?
Probably.
50 to 100.
Wow, okay. All right. And so those are on holiday nights. What about a regular Friday or Saturday night? Are you seeing that volume?
No. Maybe 20 to 30 at a time. And then people coming in groups or leaving in groups, so.
So then you're able to get like another group of people in.
Gotcha. Okay. Amy and Jennifer, do you have some questions for?
Not right now. Thanks.
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
And who do we have here from the building, the complainants? I see Meg Robbins is here and Jeremy Dubs. Are one of you here to speak on behalf of the complainants?
I think,
Okay.
yeah, I think they both are. I think Meg's hand is up first, so I'll
Go with Meg first then.
Oops, sorry. Hi, and thanks for having this meeting. I appreciate it very much. I'm gonna actually read a letter from one of the complainants who was unable to come because she's really kind of traumatized. I don't know her very well. I met her when I was collecting signatures for an at-large city councilor And she immediately said, I've had an ongoing issue for the last few years, and I hope you'll listen. And I did listen, and I've met with her a few times since. And as I said, she's fragile. She represents, I think, other people in her building who've had similar issues, and they seem to me to be legitimate ones that had not been addressed by the city. And it brings up a conflict between really what do we do with people when we're inviting density and living downtown, and we also want a robust music and entertainment scene. So it seems like a timely conversation, but let her speak for herself. And this is Maureen Sutter of 20 Hampton Avenue, number 413, and she's addressing ongoing disturbances from TELUS. She said her first letter to the Northampton Entertainment License Commission was dated September 8, 2021, and to date, she's not received a response. Since then, she says the situation with the current restaurant bar, TELUS, and the satellite has become worse. The Friday and Saturday night club events, which are permitted until 2 a.m., are now louder than the 10:30 to 2 a.m. than what was described back in 2021. Now routinely followed by after parties in the parking lot adjacent to the garage behind Thorns, TELUS patrons blast their car sound systems while shouting and screaming at times until 3 a.m. She wants us to imagine what it's like to try and live where she lives, which is right behind the parking lot on the street side of the building. She wants us to think about what it's like to be kept awake until it's finally quiet, which was probably not until after 3 a.m. So she now leaves her home every weekend and goes to stay with friends in Greenfield, which is disruptive to her own work and has affected her physical and her mental health. She says some of the inquiries she has made in this problem in 2021 continued into 2022 with what she found to be an interesting response. A city employee told her that after she inquired about the noise level, he said he knew the bass sounds tend to carry. And after a reading was taken at TELUS, he got back stating, my experience is that places like this are rarely over the legal decibel limit at the proper line. Our ordinance is written that way, and unfortunately, it doesn't help with matters of vibrating bass music. Numerous residents in her apartment building are being disturbed by the TELUS disco music. There are many residents who are retired, elderly, as well as younger working professionals and families with young children. She says she fails to understand how we are all supposed to adapt to this music and the schedule on disco nights. She says the Northampton Brewery has a summer music series that takes place from 6 to 8 p.m., which is a much better fit for the responsible neighbor requirement for indoor-outdoor entertainment license. And she talks about the entertainment license, which I think you probably already know. Do you want me to repeat it?
The entertainment license?
Yeah, the condition, I'll read it.
Okay. Yeah.
She says the Northampton License Commission requires that every licensee for indoor-outdoor entertainment be a responsible neighbor in the community. Out of consideration for others in the community, an unreasonable increase in the level of noise in the area caused by the indoor or outdoor entertainment or caused by patrons entering or leaving the premises may be subject of a hearing to modify, suspend, or revoke the license. Applicants must be mindful to monitor, control behavior of attendees and performers so the program, event, or activity complies with the approved license and is not a nuisance at all times. And she says there's no mention of decibel limits in this clause. So the facts of the situation suggest an exception is being made for TELUS. The nightclub events are promoted on Instagram and Facebook. They're profitable with a cover charge and revenue. To be frank, they would seem to have no consideration for the apartment dwellers in close proximity to their establishment. When asked about more recent parking lot parties that take place after close, Maureen says they responded by saying, we have no responsibility for our patrons' behavior once they leave here. Having lived as an apartment dweller in downtown Northampton for more than 30 years, I have never had to endure such blatant disregard for my right to peace and quiet enjoyment of my home. The word community is referenced twice in the responsible neighbor clause. As part of the community that makes up downtown Northampton, I would suggest that the needs of all those who reside here, as well as those that conduct business, be taken into consideration. After all, as apartment dwellers, we are part of the community, aren't we? Signed, Maureen Sutter. And I don't know if you all remember, but Sutter's Jewelry used to be a fixture on Main Street, and Maureen is related to that family as well. So a very long-term Northampton resident. And that is my sharing of Maureen's letter. Thank you for listening.
Sure. Thank you for that. I do want to point out, it's one of the struggles with noise complaints is the response isn't always, someone will make a complaint to the noise. The response isn't always going to be that we're going to pull a license. But we have responded to Ms. Sutter. We had at least 2 meetings to discuss this. We brought TELUS in to discuss this. We have the minutes for that. We ordered the city's decibel count. The outcome wasn't that we pulled the license. So I am sorry that she's had this experience and that she feels that she hasn't been responded to, but I feel like we have responded.
I don't think that's what she's saying. At least that's not how I read it. Do you feel like she's asking you to pull the license?
No, but we've been through enough noise complaint hearings in general with entertainment licenses that when people don't get the response of no longer hearing anything anymore at all from the music, that then the only other outcome is they just want the license pulled. So
I don't hear her saying that. I think she just wants to have the fact that she can't sleep addressed.
totally fair.
Just a reasonable request. Thank
That's
you.
completely fair.
Thank
But I do want to speak with the NPD, but I'd like to hear first from Jeremy Dubs, Councillor Dubs.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, let me lower my hand. Yeah, so first I want to thank you all for scheduling this hearing. This has been an issue that has been on my radar since 2023 when I was running for city councilor in Ward 4. Back then, many residents of Hampton Court Apartments contacted me and told me about the issue of noise inside and outside of TELUS on weekend nights. And at the time, and then also throughout the last maybe year and a half of being counselor, I didn't really know how to address the issue, and I felt bad for my constituents that I couldn't really, I didn't really know what to do because it seemed that it had been addressed, like kind of like what you already just talked about. It seemed like she had already contacted city officials, and there was a decibel reading done, and police had been contacted in the past. So I didn't know what I could do if it had already been addressed before. So that's why I was kind of quiet about it for a while. And then I became the chair of the Ordinance Review Committee, and I want to thank Meg Robbins for bringing this issue to the attention of the Ordinance Review Committee we had a public forum over the summer, and so that kind of helps, that very much helped to put this issue on the radar of the city, so we can have a conversation about it. And then the other factor in there is that for the reason that I haven't known what to do about this is because, I'm very much a supporter of local business and nightlife in Northampton. And in fact, I am a regular, I like the restaurant at TELUS. I've been to the queer night dance parties before, and had a great time. So I'm not here to get anybody in trouble. I'm just here to be a voice for my constituents, basically, because I feel like I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't speak up for the multiple people that have come to me, including the constituent that Meg Robbins read the letter from, who also has sent me videos with noise. You can hear the noise from her apartment on the videos. And so I've heard that, and it's very loud coming from her apartment. And so, so I also just want to quickly read 3 statements by other constituents of mine who have spoken up about this. They've just very brief statements. The first one is from Ali, who says, to whom it may concern, as a concerned resident at Hampton Court Apartments, I would like to inform you that the patrons of the establishment at TELUS and Satellite Bar caused commotion and behaved very uncivilized during Friday and Saturday, such as drug use in the Armory parking lots, sex in parked cars, urinating in public around the corners. These events have been witnessed and need to be addressed. Very, very disgusting population coming from out of town. Please address the situation. Thank you. That's from Ali. Another is from a constituent of mine named James, who says, who told me that recently, he says, I recently walked through the parking lot outside of TELUS and Satellite Bar on the morning after one of their late night events, and there was a large puddle of vomit there. So that was from James. And then my other statement that I have is from Manuel Arroyo. He says, I, Manuel Arroyo, live at 20 Hampton Avenue in the apartment facing the street. There's a lot of noise coming from the TELUS and Satellite Bar and after the patrons come out of the establishment until 4 or so in the morning. Those are the statements that I have here. And I've also talked to other people too. And one of the issues is that people don't want to, like sign a petition or put their names out there because they don't want to be seen as trying to attack local business. So thank you for hearing me and for scheduling this hearing.
Sure. I have a quick follow-up question. The videos that you saw was the activity during business hours or after business hours or both?
The videos that she sent me are during happening during the DJ nights on Fridays and Saturday nights. And so I can send them to you if you want me to. I would advise so basically, if you listen to them on an iPhone, you can't really hear much. But when I plugged it into my Bluetooth speaker, I could very clearly hear all of the bass coming into her apartment, and also a person speaking into a microphone, like a DJ, and it sounded like it sounded like there was a concert right there in her apartment. You could hear everything, and also you could hear all the people like yelling in the parking lot. So I can share that with the commission.
I think it's okay unless the other commissioners want to see it. I believe what you're saying.
Okay.
For Telus, quick question. So the last time you guys were here, the bigger issue was, and this was determined through also feedback from NPD when they had done their checks, but the sound was really escalating as doors opened and people came and went. And so the effort at that time was to try and manage that process. And it sounds like you've put some tools into place in terms of staffing and the lighting that you have. But what have you done, if anything, inside to address sound mitigation?
I mean, we've condensed our sound rig, but it's still honestly just a standard point source sound system.
Mhm.
If I ran it right now, you would not be able to hear it outside the door. And I understand what people say about bass sound waves, but a bass sound wave after 28 feet, I mean, that's the average. I mean, I think Hampton Court is over 100 feet away. Also, we don't speak into the microphone either. So
Are there any material, so there's been no mitigation to the extent of soundboards on the walls or ceiling of the space?
no, it's a brick building.
Yep, okay. Before we hear from NPD, Amy and Jennifer. Follow-up questions?
I don't have any questions yet. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I'd like to hear from the police.
Okay, excellent. So I think we do have somebody here.
Hi there, Madam Chair.
Hi there, how are you?
Good. My name is Brian Letzeisen. I'm the shift commander of the overnight shift at Northampton PD. In charge of that. I schedule our bar checks. I review all our logs and most of our arrests. I'm also on duty. The majority of my rotation works. I'm working those Fridays and Saturday nights, the majority of the time with our rotation. So we do have several calls there. We don't have a ton of direct noise complaints. Over the last, since July 1 of 23, of the stats that I believe the commission wanted to, review to give us kind of a 2-year window. We do have several calls there for a variety of different things, and it is on Fridays and Saturday nights. Telus is a lot of our, calls for service, our activity. But that's also frequently because they're one of the only really open and going establishments, really. I've worked in Northampton for 17 years. I've been on the overnight shift for well over a half dozen of those years. And I've worked overtime, doing bar closings and walking Main Street. And we've had these, as the commissioners had also addressed, this is a frequent problem when we have successful bars and nightclubs. I've seen it happen at Tully O'Reilly's, Paradise City, JJ's in Silk City, the Tunnel Bar, you name it, and this is the problems that come across. I mean, the most things that do happen to us, we have been in some larger disturbances or some dangerous situations for my officers being outnumbered, but a lot of that is the bar can't really control who comes there. They let people in. They're doing the things they can to keep weapons out. They do the best they can, to enforce things like drug use. Of our 14 arrests in that time, Some of them have nothing really to do with the bar, or they're their patrons, but 4 of them or 3 of them are warrant arrests. There's someone we dealt with. We may have even known who they were. We saw them. They had a warrant that happened to be where they were at that time. Multiple times we have protective custodies, which go down as arrests. And the staff, whether it's Amanda, Nam, or some of their security staff who work very well with us, they've called because people are overserved or they show up. And as we know with alcohol, like some of these people may be served at another bar. They have a few shots, leaving one bar, and then they go to tell us, and then the alcohol is hitting them, and they've been appropriate with it. They inside, in reviewing, last night I reviewed all those arrest reports again just to be prepared, and there's one, I think one of them, maybe 2, where the fight actually started inside the establishment. Frequently, Nam, Amanda, or one of their staff will call us that they've removed people from the bar, and they just want us to be aware of it. They'll give us a description of someone we're looking for, because what's kind of unique about Tellus is most of the people here probably know where it is, and the setting is, when we had Tully O'Reilly's and we had these issues, or, Bishops had these issues, you emptied onto a main road, there was a sidewalk, there was nowhere to congregate. You empty Tellus and you're into a public park, essentially. The parking lot's right there, the parking garage is there, people can be all over the place. And the scenes that people are describing of blaring music in cars, after party things, or maybe even pre-gaming things that are going on in the parking lot are happening. And that's kind of what happens when you have bars. That's our job to enforce those as much as possible. And, if you say our call log, of the 289 calls that we've gone there since July, 175 of those are bar monitoring cards. Almost every Friday or Saturday night, I have my 1 or 2 of my officers in the parking lot with their lights on, sometimes near the door, or sometimes just in there to deter people away and be able to address an issue right away. And that does tend to help. Unfortunately, the times we're not able to do that is sometimes we will have an issue. You'll also see on there that I believe it's the bar checks. There's 18 liquor establishment checks. One of my duties is I go through all the licensed establishments and we have to randomly check them. So right now we don't have a ton of late night nightclub style where the bars are open after 11. So you're getting pretty much checked almost every other month. Some places may be every 3rd month, but almost everyone's checked every 60 days. 1 or 2 officers go in, depending upon the establishment, when it goes up. We meet with the manager, we check that they're obeying all the rules, like overcrowding, licenses posted, security being properly attired, make sure they're obeying the 1 a.m. law, 1 a.m. versus 2 a.m. closing laws, and everything like that. And for the most part, they're in compliance. I would say, like any business, as Nam and Amanda have progressed, there's certain things we've had to change. Like one of their main door people who's great with us, he wasn't wearing a shirt. So at one, we did have a disturbance where people didn't understand he was security. There was one other isolated incident where someone was let in after 1 and that person did cause a problem. We, through a conversation with Amanda and Nam, it didn't have to be a violation, and that's typically how we handle it. And I think that's how the commission would want us to handle it. I mean, I think they know that if there was something to violate, we would fill out the violations. All my officers are trained on how to do it. And I think that they do a pretty good job for what they're tasked with. The major problem they have is once people are outside their business, they're really, as long as they're not, they're properly, not overserved and things like that, they've done their job. I think there's like a footage designed of what they're responsible in front of their establishment, but after that, it becomes the city's job or the police department's job to clear them out. So yes, are there problems with it? There are, but if we want nightclubs and bars, late night bars in Northampton, these are problems that are going to exist. We have the rules to do it. Since I've been involved with this, which is over a decade now, the biggest thing is the staff working with us. And again, Nam and Amanda they're very approachable. Their security staff will tell us if they've removed anyone from the night and if they've seen them in the area still. And I would say that most of those large disturbances were earlier on. And I think the further we get away from COVID, people have more options. A lot more people from, especially maybe Springfield, Holyoke, Chicopee, some of the larger cities around us have more establishments by them. But yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions. But like I said, I don't think there's too many violations. The noise, again, Madam Chair, you said the same thing. When the door opens, it gets loud. We do have this, it's a very common problem when we have, people having DJs and stuff like that. I don't really know the way to address it. It's the same thing with early construction. We get the same type of calls, and if it's usually under the decibel levels and people are obeying the rules, so.
Yeah, it's a predicament, actually.
Yeah,
So I had one question for you, just a clarifying question.
yes,
The data that we have of the 289 calls, that's from July 1st of 2023
yes.
to 25. Okay, because when I first saw this report, when it was sent to us, I was like, 289 calls since July. But now I'm saying, I just want to clarify that's a little over 2 years of data.
Yeah. So and again, like with some of those arrests, like
Yeah.
we also have 3 drunk driving calls in there. So when we're there monitoring the crowd, we
Yeah.
see an impaired operator, someone hits a car in the parking lot, we have to take the report and the person's intoxicated. And it is a big distinction between being overserved in a bar and being too drunk to operate a car.
Right.
So that's really not at the fault of the bar.
Totally.
And again,
Totally.
289 of those, a lot of those, like the majority, like, over 200 at least, are initiated by us. Now, we're there just to monitor them 175 times in that time block, and we're doing 30, or 20 bar checks. Other calls, like there's 2 lost property calls in there. Someone did a couple of them are follow-up cards, and things like that. So, and there's a traffic accident, which obviously isn't, I don't think the bar is causing the traffic accident, so.
All this information is really helpful. Do you have, I mean, it sounds based on what you're saying, you don't have issues with how the bar is being operated. A lot of this is, just kind of par for the course with this type of business. And we don't have as many of these businesses open downtown, so it's going to attract more people than other places. Do you have any suggestions for the business owners on how they might change things or make some improvements in this regard?
I mean, these are some of the conversations we've had over times. I think at one time, there was I remember there's probably police reports filed on it. I think there was a security person who seemed to be, not be the one not obeying all the after hours license rules. And I believe he was probably terminated and they took care of it. It hasn't been an issue. Again, them wearing the staff things. They got their staff T-shirts with name, that clearly says that they're staff or they work for the bar or the restaurant. The crowding there can be kind of an issue usually, but again, the complaints that the city has, like the noise is the noise. What's going to happen in the parking lot when people get out from 2 hours of dancing and drinking is what's going to happen. It used to happen up in the depot lot. It used to happen on Holly Street in Bridge. It happened up at Silk City. It's the same things. It's what happens, like I said, if you want that in your downtown, these are some of the things you're going to get with it. I understand people at Hampton Court having that. I will say the noise frequently. My officers sit right in the parking lot of the Armory Street lot, and facing. We're not usually out on Crafts Ave, but sometimes that's where the calls would go. And we're still able to use our radios. We're still able to talk to each other there. Yeah, the only thing maybe, again, is we can start looking into enforcing, like public parks. You're not allowed to be loitering in public parks. If we want to designate that area between the parking garage and where Telus is, like, I mean, there's park benches and stuff, but it's kind of like sitting on Main Street. It's not like it's not like being up in Pulaski Park or being in one of the playgrounds or something like that. So if, the city wanted to work and have some signage and stuff like that, or maybe, work it out with the bar where they pay for it, and we can look into what we can enforce to keep people out. But usually when we're present, it moves people along. We are coming off the summer, so it's been nicer out. As soon as cold weather hits, people aren't hanging around too long out there. They get to their cars. So yeah, would I say it is I guess it'd be a problem for us. It does take up a lot of our work on Fridays and Saturday nights. Even when we make OUIs other parts of the city or deal with fights and disturbances other parts of the city, frequently people are coming from Telus. But again, that's the open business. When people drink alcohol, especially to excess, these things happen. There's places that are allowed to do it. That Amanda and Nam run a successful business down there, and they're they cooperate with us. I think they've done everything we've asked them to do. And that hasn't always been the case with other establishments. So I just would like to put that out there. I think if there was something the city came up with, I think they'd do it. And we can look in some ideas. I don't really know what they are. I think it's really, unfortunately, a dilemma that we do have when we have people living there and we have a downtown area.
Okay, thank you. Jennifer and Amy, did you have any questions or comments before we talk to
May
some
I
other?
ask the lieutenant quickly, does he feel that the readmittance policy is enforced? Because I mean, that would,
Yeah, so of all of our rules and regulations, that's usually the one that the bar is very aware, all these establishments are very aware about, especially when they know where they're watching them. So usually when we start, like, as long as we have the time, we're not tied up. My shift is frequently 5 officers on the street for the whole city, maybe a sergeant as well. But if we have another arrest or another call going on, I only have 2 officers to really put down there. But usually they would show up around 1 o'clock and we start monitoring that. And it's very easy. I mean, there's one way, unless there's a fire, there's only one way in or out of Telus. And the biggest thing it does is that helps, instead of having everyone leaving instantly, it helps, someone goes out to smoke a cigarette or someone decides to leave. They're not everyone leaving at 1:45. So it does help. Again, the problem there is people exit and it's like an after party in the parking lot or on the park benches out front. And there's nothing that the business can do about it. That's just where their establishment is. Frequently, we've had that. We have it in other parts of the city of other bars, like where the depot lot is, there'd be 4 bars that people used to leave from. So you never knew, like, it wasn't, this is basically blamed on one bar because they're the only place in the area and they're really the only one that's open late with a successful crowd. But I don't know that the 1 a.m. rule is, of all the rules that we do enforce, is one of the most successful ones. And I would say that they follow it. Again, I've been back on midnight since just coming out of COVID. Went back in 21, and I don't think Telus was open yet or open fairly recent after that. And I think we've had one issue with a readmittance thing. And again, I think it was one isolated employee who let someone back in, and it never, I wouldn't say it happened again.
thank you for that clarification.
Yep.
I'm just curious. I'm curious how often or what your staff capacity is to do the park the cruiser there when folks get out. I mean, if it seems like that dissipates folks and prevents after parties from congregating and moves people along, I don't know how realistic it is to say, can you do that every Friday and Saturday from 2 to 2:30 or whatever?
Well, I mean, if you look at the numbers, so we're going just over 2 years, so you're looking at about, what, 700 days, and it's only 2 days a week, and we've done it 175 times. So we're pretty much there every Friday, Saturday night from anytime around 12:45 till about 2:30 in the morning. Again, the times that we're not, sometimes that's how it's hard to measure what would happen if we're not there. It's a big criminal justice study problem. You'll see studies that, like, police presence doesn't deter crime, but it's hard to measure what's going to happen if we're not there. But frequently when we aren't able to be there, then we do have, fights break out in the parking lot, or we do get called there. But the only reason we wouldn't be there on a Friday or Saturday night from 12:45, 1 a.m. till about 2:30 is if we show up and it's a dead night, there's no one there, or we're busy handling other things in the city. And even to the point where I'll say, like, if my officers are tied up, I will make sure that someone is cleared up to go down there with at least one officer and a cruiser with the scene lights on. And that's not rare. I mean, you'll see that in Amherst, Holyoke, Springfield, wherever city you go to, there's, we're just present to take action if something does happen and to deter people from, taking, a crime of opportunity, things like that. But yeah, if you, like I said, 175 times in about 700 days, and they're only there 2 days a week. So we're there pretty much every Friday, Saturday.
Thanks.
I'm not sure who raised their hand first, Meg or Counselor Dubs. We'll go with Meg.
Thanks. Just to say, I should add on behalf of what Ms. Sutter told me, she felt as though residents where she is have felt intimidated about calling the police to complain about noise. And this whip goes back, I think she said at least 2 or 3 years of feeling as though they were just disturbance, and that when they called, it was noted, it was taken down and it was there. But there might have been a reduction in calls that came from residents feeling, understandably, the police are understaffed and being able to respond to it, but that they didn't feel as though they were appreciated in making those calls because it was pretty consistent on a weekend basis. And I guess what I'm still not hearing is about the fact that the residents in these buildings do have a noise issue that comes from the bar. And they say it's a fairly steady noise issue. So it may be on the door opening or there may be the door closing, but that does sound like that's an area that the bar itself might be able to help find a remedy for, as aside from the part that there's an after party that's there that continues during the night. And I've talked to a couple of other people in this city who felt that perhaps this is also a public health issue. So if the licensing commission is looking for some sense of how to maybe enhance or think about that good neighbor policy, I wonder if a recommendation to the public health department might be helpful. Thanks.
Thank you.
I-
Looking at, oh, sorry, go ahead, Lieutenant.
I was just going to answer about the calls or not wanting to call. I mean, since July 1 of 23, we've been called there for one noise complaint. I mean, they may have called, there may be other areas, it may just be called in the general area, so the bar is not triggered. We do have 29 or 30 disturbances. One was a domestic, the other one regular disturbances, but a lot of the time they may call too, there's some underreporting where we're already there, so dispatch may not create a call log for us. They may be, they'll tell us. And again, with the noise, I'm sure it can be heard. I have no doubt. I'm sure it can be heard at 20 Hampton Ave. I don't know where certain complainants' apartments are. And there's other apartment buildings in the area. I mean, there's people who live above the bar itself, I'm pretty sure, that we don't get calls from. I wouldn't say that the noise is any different than what we've had at any other establishment. We used to, and again, they do keep the door closed because that is always a main thing. It used to be a big thing on Strong and Pearl Ave. If the door was closed, it was fine. But the second they would like prop it open, neighbors would know it was propped open and they'd call. So as far as people calling, I'm not saying if they did call a noise complaint, we'd be able to do a lot about it, but we have only received, again, one noise complaint. And we have, but in addition to the other 30 disturbances.
Thank you. Counselor Dubs.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I didn't misspeak at all. To address the gentleman who mentioned that the people don't speak into microphones at the events. And I said that I thought that I had heard that on the video. I just want to make sure that I'm not saying any misinformation. So I 100% take your word for it that there is no one speaks into a microphone. It's quite possible that what I heard on the video is coming from music that's coming from a car, possibly in the parking lot. So basically the main point I was trying to make is that the video that I saw proves that there is noise coming from that area. And it sounded like a voice coming like a voice during music or something, but that might have been coming from a car. So I wasn't trying to say that I wasn't trying to spread any misinformation about my microphone usage. So please know that I was not trying to do that. Thanks.
Thank you. I see we have Counselor Perry here. I'd like to recognize Garrick.
Hey,
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. First of all, I want to thank you, as everyone has, for taking this issue. I actually was the person who brought this to the Ordinance Review Committee. In the first meeting was one of the things I wanted to talk about was our noise ordinance. You can check the minutes, but I also brought up the 1 a.m. rule. And one thing that we found in our ordinance committee is we would have to kind of shuffle some of these issues to different bodies in the city. Meg Robbins did say maybe it's a health thing. I'm hearing a lot of talk about community, and I think that maybe community resources could be a good space to have some of these discussions as well. And just to give some background for those who don't know, I have been working in these sectors for most of my adult life here in Northampton. I ran Bishop's Lounge. I helped start the Iron Horse. You know, I've also been in contact with Maureen and other folks. And what I noticed is that a lot of these complaints came after COVID, where there was a lot of quiet time. People were settled in, and Northampton is a city in, I hope, resurgence, where as our police officers are stating, that we used to have a busier nightlife. So when Harry's or the 11s were open, people were parking in those parking lots. I know people who lived in Hampton Court, and there were issues. So unfortunately, TELUS is being kind of singled out. And I don't see a single solution to this. But I think that working together as a community, we can try and have a discussion about it. I have been to TELUS multiple times. I was there recently, and they are in compliance with everything. A lot of their issues that I see is due to, again, lack of other spaces to kind of disperse crowds. We are now in a situation where there's maybe one or two places where people are congregating. One of the reasons why I originally brought this up first was because I want to think forward. I believe that Northampton can start reopening, and there'll be multiple clubs. So I really wanted to look at the noise ordinances as people in other spaces who weren't used to or aren't used to having late night noises are aware and are able to deal with the situation, because this will not stop. As soon as we open other clubs, we're going to have to deal with noise complaints again. And unfortunately, it is part of moving into a downtown of a city. If you live in New York City versus the suburbs, you're going to have a different experience. And that's not to say that people shouldn't have their space and their mental health, but it is a reality of life. And so I just wanted to kind of speak of how this got here and why I brought it forward and sort of my thoughts on it. And I do want to say that Amanda and Nan are doing a great job. And these guys are not only running a restaurant, but they're staying late night to ensure that nothing happens. And if you've ever run a restaurant and then tried to do a late night thing, you can only imagine how difficult it is, and how you can only control what is within your boundaries. And you can't really dictate what happens outside of your walls, but you can try. And I thank the police as well for trying to navigate this situation. Because I know you guys used to be busier before, and now you just sit in one parking lot. And also to Meg's point is, you don't really have to call as many times, because the police, as they said, are there every weekend almost, checking them out. So thank you.
Thank you. So I think one of the things we discussed the last time or the first time that we had TELUS here, Amanda, was the potential for doing something outside of that entryway, some sort of box. And I recall the issue being that that's on city property. Is that correct? Just immediately outside that door. So where your tables are, when you have outdoor dining, that's on city property. We approve that. I'm wondering if it's part of, because you're not going away, nor should your business go away. It's a welcome business in town. It's very important for the nightlife, and we're very limited in those options for people. So again, everybody said it. It's why there's so many of them at your establishment. What are some of the ways that we can mitigate that with their physical space? And I would like to have a conversation with whoever needs to be involved in it. It would be Thorne's Marketplace and the city regarding constructing something outside of that main doorway to mitigate some of that sound. And then an additional step to happen in tandem would be for your business to have a sound study inside to identify some ways to mitigate some of the sound that's coming through the brick walls. Have you considered doing that aspect before having somebody come in? Because I don't know who that would be.
No, we have not. I don't know who that would be. We are certainly all ears. If somebody has suggestions of who we could have come in, we'd be happy to do it. I know we're also in the process of upgrading some of our sound equipment. So it's possible that, I know we're getting smaller things. I don't know that they'll necessarily be quieter, but they might be more, the sound might be able to be more curated. As far as putting something outside the door, we have no objections to it. It would probably function for our business in multiple ways and be beneficial for draft and all of that kind of things. The one thing I am a little bit concerned why I wonder if it would actually benefit this particular problem is if they're coming in through that door, then the other door is also going to be open. So is it just a door that's, slightly farther away, but the same amount of noise is going to come out?
Yep. Yep. And which way are your speakers facing? Are they on the inside wall facing out towards the wall by the parking lot, or when you set up the music, is it on that wall facing into the business, into the room?
The DJ booth is on the inside
Mhm.
of it's on the interior of Thorns, and the speakers are out to the crowd and also back towards like the back of the restaurant.
Okay.
So like kind of they're pointing towards the kitchen.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Jennifer and Amy.
I appreciate both of those ideas. I'm struggling with the parts that Telus can control versus the things that go on in the parking lot. And I don't want to leave the neighbors just high and dry and being like, well, that's too bad because it's the parking lot. But I'm also trying to be mindful of what's within our control. So it feels to me like a good first step would be if Telus were willing to, and I think maybe if this is a great time, if they're getting new sound equipment, to look at doing some sort of sound study and see if there are things that they could do that would mitigate or dampen the sound that escapes the premises. I'm still struggling with the parking lot situation though.
I can also say that we also just upgraded all of our seating, which I know seems like it's not related, but even in terms of the noise level in just the restaurant portion of what we do, the new furniture absorbs more sound. And though, of course, as you all know, if you've been around when we transition from one thing to the other, we move a lot of furniture, but a lot of those things, they can't go out the door, they're too big. So they're still in the restaurant, they're still able to absorb sound. So and that change was made literally 1 week ago. So I wonder if that also will actually help in some way.
Thank you. Jennifer?
I just wonder if somebody could do a sound study, if there's some fixes that we're not aware of. Maybe I'm being overly optimistic, but wouldn't it be nice if?
I know it's been done. I recall when we had a sound issue on Strong Ave, one of the iterations of Homestead. Before that, they were having late night music, and they did have a sound study came in, and they did have batting put up, and I think the prior iteration of Majestic did the same thing. And those things were helpful. Those were helpful, but none of those things fix the issues that are happening in the parking lot. But that's not, we can't, I don't know how to fix that. The police
Right,
presence.
there is more than one issue at play. There is more
Yeah.
than one.
Yes.
Yeah. And I really appreciate that the lieutenant has been here to share with us how frequently they are there, because it was a question of mine, how, can you up your presence, but it sounds like they're there every Friday and Saturday.
That is true. I can say I speak with them most nights, even if it's just ask how everybody's doing and to talk with them about anything. I would say we have a really great relationship with them. They've been really wonderful to us, and we feel that they're supportive. And they're oftentimes we call, not because anything is happening, but because it's like you have a feeling, you're like, somebody, I have a feeling about them. Could you just come and be here? We've definitely done that just to, ensure people's safety.
Well, thank you for saying that, because I do think it's important that I guess we note for the record that we want your staff to continue making those calls. We don't want anyone to feel now that they're being scrutinized, they can't call for help. We, as the commission, do not want to send that message at all. I'm grateful for your staff. I thought there were a lot of touches that your staff made, Amanda, and I commend them for that. And I hope that can continue. I think that's important.
I would say that even if we were being scrutinized, I know over the 3 years we've been here, the many conversations I've had with a lot of our long-term staff is that they're going to make the call even if they feel like they take very seriously how people feel coming in here. and how safe they, the safety of their environment. So even if they're like, well, even if somebody's going to be looking at me, I don't care. I still need to make the call that I think is right.
Anything else from anyone before we move on to discussion?
The only other thing I'd like to say is that in response to Meg Robbins' letter from Maureen, is that there keeps being a date that's brought up of September 8th, 2021. We were not here then. TELUS did not open until 2022. So I just want to be clear about that whatever complaint that was, it was probably the prior iteration, which though I was, employed by them, that was not TELUS.
Thank you.
That's it though.
All right. And one more thing, Amanda, before we close the hearing and discuss. If the outcome of our discussion is that we ask you to partner with your landlord in exploring a sound study, that would be something that you'd be open to.
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay. Great. Commissioners, anything else before I close the public hearing?
No.
No, nothing.
And I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Did we lose Annie?
Oh, I'm like, Natasha? Sorry, I was muted.
That's all right. Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
And Amy?
Yes.
All right. So these, and I say this every time, these are the hardest discussions that we have as a commission, are the noise complaints, because we are mindful of our residents and neighbors of businesses and their comfort in their homes. And we're also mindful of our businesses who are contributing so much to our community, and our business owners are our neighbors as well. So it's for anybody who hasn't heard me say this, it's how the good neighbor language was born, was having really uncomfortable conversations with both business and neighbors, and it not, the nature of the conversations never resulted in outcomes that anybody could feel okay about. So if everyone's coming to the table and having positive, constructive discussions that can move us forward, then we're all being good neighbors in this process. And that was the point of putting that in there. So I appreciate hearing from everybody who's contributed to the conversation today. It's been really helpful. It's been, seeing the dispatch data is without context is like, oh my gosh, all these calls, but then having the lieutenant here explaining his experiences and really not having a lot of suggestions in how we can improve this situation, because there's some facts that we can't address. I don't know how we address people hanging around at 3 and 4 in the morning, other than the police telling them to move along, but it's also public spaces. So if they're not breaking any laws, there are people hanging around. So our challenge then for the commissioners is to discuss what next steps that we want to take. I think that a good first step is asking Thorns and TELUS to have a sound study done to see what types of mitigation the space would benefit from. I don't feel like this, well, look, what else do you guys have to say?
I'd absolutely agree with that suggestion. I feel like a lot of the parking lot issues are outside our purview, but there are a couple of city councilors on this call who I feel like could bring up conversations about those issues at other city council subcommittee meetings. And I don't think that would be the worst thing in the world to have a conversation about how the city monitors those outside spaces. But I think our focus is on how we can help mitigate sound at TELUS. So I'd support the notion of a sound study.
Jennifer?
I also agree, because as you noted, Natasha, the complaints from Homestead and Majestic just no longer exist. So I'm hopeful that perhaps internally additional steps can be made.
Yeah, those, I remember the efforts that were made were very helpful for both of those establishments.
And is it possible for us to make that, I'm just thinking logistically, make that ask and put it on like our next agenda so that the community feels like we're staying on top of it and they're being heard?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that the business does not want to be a bad neighbor either. So, and I know that Thorne's Marketplace is a wonderful partner to the community. So I have no doubt that if we make this ask, that it's something that we can just start the process. Beyond that, I don't, I'm, and again, this is in having heard from the lieutenant, I don't feel there's anything punitive here to act on. The after hours activity is super unfortunate, but that's out of our hands. And, you know, with our police partners, they're paying attention to it. With our counselors on the call, they can move it forward in their subcommittees, like Amy suggested. You know, this is a business downtown that we want to support. I feel a little prickly when we start to say we don't want people hanging around downtown. I think the best step forward is to ask for a sound study to be conducted, ideally in time for our next meeting, if that's possible, but I'm not sure if sound studies happen that quickly, so.
I'd go along with that. I'd also just like to say it was very helpful to hear from the police, the level of cooperation that they get from TELUS. I think that showed that TELUS is trying to be a good neighbor and do the right thing and mitigate issues where they can. And I appreciated hearing that from the police.
Yep.
So.
All right. So are we ready then for a motion that would include asking TELUS and I don't know if we need to name their landlord, but asking TELUS to conduct a sound.
I can give it a go if you'd like.
Okay.
I would like to move to request that TELUS and this or Sirius Hospitality Group LLC, DBA TELUS and the Satellite Bar, work with their landlord to undertake a sound study and see if they can identify any means by which they could mitigate noise at their establishment.
Second.
Natasha? Am I muted again?
No.
No.
Oh, Natasha.
Yes.
Jennifer
Yes.
and Amy.
Yes.
And I'll put something on the agenda for next meeting.
Yes.
Even if it's just an update, that'd be great.
Yes. And again, thank you everybody who contributed to that hearing. It's helpful to hear from all perspectives. All right, so we are ready to move on to the next hearing. We have a hearing relative to potential modification of entertainment license held by Let Me Be Lucy LLC, DBA Gombo Oyster Bar, located at 159 Main Street, and make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Natasha, Jennifer,
Yes.
and Amy.
Yes.
All right, so we have Gombo here. Hi there, how are you?
Hold on.
There we
I'm
go.
doing all right. How are you doing?
Thank you. Could you just state your name for the record?
This is Cassidy Bowman.
Great. And do you have anyone else with you? I think I see your manager here, if she wants to unmute.
Naya's here, and my wife Tamara
okay.
Bowman
Okay.
is in that little box with
Excellent.
Han Solo and Carbonite behind her.
Excellent. Well, anyone with Gombo is welcome to be unmuted. So can you share with us a bit about your entertainment programming that you're offering?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I prepared some remarks, and if I can go through them real quick, if I know everybody's been hanging on here a long time, so you want me to just go right through them?
That'd be great.
All right. Well, I have really only four. First of all, my name's Cassidy. Hi, everybody. Thank you for hanging in there. And thank you for your time today. I wish we didn't have to be here, but here we are. So I just want to make a few short points and then turn it over to whoever else wants public comment. I really only have 4 points, but I had to add one recently because it came to my attention very recently through my landlord that the complainant was also, in addition to having a noise complaint, having a smell of marijuana complaint added to his complaint. So I need to speak for a quick minute on that. Let me be crystal clear. We're running a restaurant. There is no smoking of any kind in Gambo, not inside, not outside in the patio. Anybody who has gone to Gambo knows this. Have you ever noticed that people in restaurants hate the smell of smoke, period? However, like it or not, people are allowed to smoke a few things on the streets of Northampton. And as a citizen, I can do nothing about that. Every day, Naya and I have to cajole, sweet talk, and use whatever other tricks are in our book to move smoking people away from our restaurant. It's a daily thing. So I'm sort of glad that the complainant dumped smell into this complaint because it kind of lays bare what a farce the whole thing is. He is alleging that we are interfering with his comfort and convenience. I believe it's another C word that he is into, and that's control. He wants to control every sight, sound, smell at ground zero in the middle of Main Street, downtown Northampton. This is not how city living works. Every day when I work at Gambo, I see things I wish I could unsee. I hear things I wish I could not hear. I unfortunately smell things I wish to God I had never smelled in my life. I don't go barking to City Hall every day when that happens, every day. What do? I get back to work. So that's all I have to say about the smell part of this. So my other 4 points are, first of all, through this process, I've been consistent in my opinion that sitting down face to face and talking like adults would go a long way to solving this issue. Unfortunately, my repeated attempts towards that have been met with total silence. I've never met the complainant. He's never walked downstairs to Gambo to introduce himself. He's never shook my hand or talked to me. Neither the complainant, my landlord, or the condo board of my building has bothered to come see a night of Gambo to see what they're voting to dismantle. And whatever the outcome of this meeting, I'm going to continue to live my life believing that talking things out like rational adults is a good path forward. And I'm also a big fan of letting human beings show you who they are. My second point is that for the last several months, the complainant has been quoting a clause from the Condo Association bylaws to me, to the License Commission. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the License Commission does not exist to arbitrate condo documents or condo disputes. But since the condo document has been repeatedly referenced in the complaint, I'd like to just take 60 seconds to respond to that. What has been repeated to me over and over again in the last month is as follows, quote, "No unit owner shall make or permit any disturbing noises, nor do or permit anything that will interfere with the rights, comforts, or convenience of other unit owners." However, there's another sentence in that clause which the complainant has either inadvertently or purposely neglected to state every time. So I'm now going to read you the full clause. "No unit owner shall make or permit any disturbing noises, nor do or permit anything that will interfere with the rights, comforts, or convenience of the other unit owners." Nothing in this paragraph will be construed to limit the normal operation of retail stores, including music stores. Gambo is 100% definition retail. Their own condo bylaws specifically protect us from this kind of overreach. And that's all I have to say about the condo document. My third point, probably the most important point, why are we here today? It's the License Commission's purview to discuss the reasonable use of an entertainment license. So let's talk about that. Our entertainment license grants us 98 and a half hours of live entertainment at Gambo going until 12:30 a.m. 7 days a week. 98 and a half hours a week of live music. To date, we have only ever used 4 hours a week. 4. Just let that sink in. 4. Everything we're talking about today is about 4 hours. Thursdays and Fridays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Live jazz, live blues, New Orleans style music. That is the extent of our responsible use of our entertainment license. Another thing that we do to responsibly use our entertainment license is we put out signs and they say, quote, polite notice, please respect our neighbors. You are requested to keep noise to a minimum when leaving the premises, unquote. So 4 hours, that's why we're here. People, that is how low the bar is to change the landscape of Main Street, Northampton. I talk to hundreds of people every week, and the two most common things I hear from people are, 1, thank you for doing live music, and 2, Northampton's dead. Northampton used to be better X years ago, where X equals 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, right? Over and over and over again, I hear this hundreds of times a week. So it really blows my mind that with just 4 hours of responsibly using our entertainment license, we have literally changed the landscape of downtown Northampton, particularly Main Street, downtown Northampton. I might be blind, but it feels like this is important to everybody except for one person. And my final point is this. This is not about me. This is not even about Gombo. It's literally about everybody else. This is about the community. It's about Northampton, and it's about a Northampton that, from my point of view, people seem to really be thirsting for. I've only been running this restaurant for 1 year, but my experience of running a restaurant so far is it is about everybody but me. When I'm there, I'm thinking about our customers. I'm thinking about our staff. I'm thinking about the music listeners. I'm thinking about our musicians. I'm thinking about the community. I'm thinking about downtown Northampton. So a year ago almost a year ago next week, we had a ribbon cutting. And I said the following thing. I said, we don't expect to get rich with Gombo, but we do expect to help people. And 1 year in, that statement is entirely true. We are not getting rich. We're not adverse to it. Maybe one day it will happen, but I can tell you we are changing lives. I see it happen every night with my own eyes. So as we enter the second year, I'm going to keep running Gombo, thinking about everybody but myself, because that seems to be working. And it's the way I want to live my life. So it's my hope as I pass this along to the rest of the public comment that the people on this Zoom call, the complainants, my landlord, anybody from the condo board who might be on this, can really listen and maybe take a few minutes out of their lives to think about people other than themselves. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Jennifer and Amy, any questions for Cassidy?
Not right this minute.
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Okay. Then we'd like to hear from the complainant, please. Yes.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Could you just state your name,
Yeah.
please?
Yeah, I heard just what Cassidy Bowman said about this experience. That's not true. Because the first time they started music, I called him and we talked about that. And he just said that it should not bother us. And that's it. And the other thing, we talked many times to landlord, which is here also, I understand. And landlord did not do anything either. The thing is that we are in residential unit above this restaurant, and we have association, and we had association meeting which with everybody agreed that this restaurant is not retail. Restaurant is, according to Northampton documents, is not retail establishment. Restaurant is establishment to service food and has different zoning documents, has different, everything different. So everything written in the documents applied, and I sent emails, separate emails, and the letter from the association. So this is not true. Secondly, we live in a residential unit. 20 years, we both retired. We deserve something that give us peace and mind in terms of our health and everything. Since they get the license, first of all, they ignored all our calls. He did not actually pick up the phone after the first time. They ignored everything that we talked to landlord, and on association meeting and follow meeting online, everybody agreed that this is the issue. This is the issue of noise, because we live in the same building. And how he can say that we don't have, yes, this noise bothers us very much. And independence of what sound studies or not sound studies can be made. The thing is that it's for us, we don't understand how he get the license where they have a residential unit, our condo where we live for 20 years. How he get the license? Did he mention the residential unit or not? We question that too. So thank you very much for allowing me to say, but obviously everything or almost everything he said here is not true. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Mojastic Music's iPhone, please.
Yes. Good afternoon. Can you hear me? I wanna
Yes.
make sure.
Could you just state your name for us, please?
Sure. My name is Hashima Moja, and I am speaking as a musician who has had the pleasure of performing at Gumbo since April, once a month normally. But I also speak as an individual who, at 55 years old, can remember growing up in Western Mass and Northampton being the place that really provided for me as a young budding musician the opportunity to not only perform but also to experience an amazing amount of world-class entertainment at places like the Iron Horse and many of the other establishments which are no longer there. I live in New York City, and so I'm very aware of what it is to live in an environment filled with sound. I also understand that I've watched in 35 years New York in itself transform, and I think that Northampton really has always represented the possibility, and so of wonderful spaces where community could gather. And Cassidy, when he first asked me to come, I was very aware that from a financial perspective, it wasn't necessarily going to be something lucrative for me, but it was an opportunity to bring my music into Northampton. And in the times that I've had the opportunity to play, you know, I heard the mention of public health. And for me, as not only as a musician, but as a person who does a lot of consulting around art and healing, I look at music, live music, as a public health initiative. And, several of the experiences that I've had, the interactions that I've had with the beautiful people in Northampton, is that after we finish playing, having patrons from Gumbo come up to us, the musicians, and say, before I walked into this space, I was feeling really worn down. I was feeling burnt out. I was feeling, anxious. But the fact that I could come into this space and hear some live music for a couple of hours is really, for me, an amazing testament to how art can build community. And while I understand that it also presents some challenges, both for business owners and for community members in terms of sound, I also think that progress is a difficult thing because progress asks us to think about moving forward, but at the same time trying to respect people who are in the surrounding spaces. And so I just want to say that for me, Cassidy has been very adamant when we play. When the time hits, the 11 p.m. time hits, Cassidy is cutting the band off and saying, I wish we could go all night. Can't do it. We have an ordinance, or we have a set of regulations that we're following. And so I think that I've seen Cassidy do a lot of discussion with the people in the space. I don't know what type of interaction has happened between residents and landlords. That's not in my purview. But I've seen him making great efforts, as he already talked about, to make sure that he's reminding people to please be mindful of residents and neighbors when they're leaving the establishment. And so I think that he has gone to great lengths to speak directly to people about the need to respect, but at the same time, having a vision, which he was granted a permit to be able to carry out. And he's already talked about the terms of that permit, so I don't need to reiterate it. But I just want to say that, I really appreciate the opportunity even to speak, because I'm not a resident of Northampton, but I live in probably the noisiest city in North America. And I know the challenges, but I also know the benefits of what can happen when people have alternatives and they have an opportunity to step into spaces like Northampton, which is an absolutely beautiful town, and experience a different type of community that in Springfield or Holyoke may not be realistic, right? So those are my comments. I really want to appreciate all of the council people who have given me the opportunity to speak. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. All right. Cassidy, I have a quick question for you.
Yes.
There. Have you done any sound studies or any mitigation soundboards or anything like that in the restaurant space?
No.
Thank you. All right, we got a bunch of hands coming up. I think Jordy Harold was up first.
Okay, sorry about that. My cursor did not want to unmute me, but it probably just shows me for the dinosaur that I am.
You're in good company. For myself.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. For those on the call that don't know me, I've been involved with live music in Northampton for nearly 50 years, which I guess is both a joy and a pain to say. But I founded the Iron Horse Music Hall in 1979, and its live music was something that has become very dear to the people of the community. There's endless major market newspaper stories from here and from Europe that say that it puts the town on the map and contributes deeply to the quality of life for people living here, along with its contribution to the live music scene. And certainly in those, what are now 46 years, there's been 4 owners now of the Iron Horse, all of whom I'm sure have endured any number of individual noise complaints, some of which went back to 1979 when the 5th floor of the building was a single room occupancy rooming house from people who at that time predated the use of a live entertainment thing. And I acknowledge that it's a dance, but the vibrancy of this community and I can even say a dirty word, but for the people who now own apartments as opposed to rent single room occupancies, even their real estate value is attributed to how vibrant and dynamic the downtown is, how much activity there is on the streets, how many people are being brought into town by the existence of that scene, and how much it puts us both in a regional and a national framework. And that energy and that sense of culture and vitality is priceless for downtown. It's what makes people want to live not just downtown, but want to live everywhere in town. And there's some personal expense, I will acknowledge, that comes to that. And I can say that freely because for 14 years, I lived on Main Street above retail establishments, above restaurant establishments, above establishments that did music, and across the street from nobody here is old enough to remember, from Rahar's, which was the ultimate punk music establishment, which definitely poured out onto Main Street, much as we heard in earlier hearings about Tullis, and opened their doors and disgorged not always pleasant characters, some of whom I personally took to court. Didn't take Rahar's to court, but I took them to court as a 20-something who didn't want to be woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning before I had to teach the next morning, but I digress. But the colorful nature of our town and the cultured nature of our town is our Main Street. These establishments is what makes people want to be here and what makes it wonderful and desirable for so many people. And so I speak on behalf of Gombo, where I have gone as a dining patron, where I've gone as a music patron, but where even if I didn't go there at all, I am just a fan of somebody putting themselves out on the line and saying, I can bring something tasty and something musically magical into town that will ultimately redound to the benefit of us all, encouraging other people to do this, encouraging activity in town. I loved watching the dynamic of Gombo interacting with the Northampton Jazz Festival and acting as an anchor for that, and the sense of energy that was generated on the street around that. And I just say, hear, hear. I understand that there are complexities. We're all part of them in this organism, but they're doing a wonderful thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have several hands up. I've tried to note the order I've seen them. So next would be Eamon.
I think Sonda was actually
okay,
first
sure.
before.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so for the record, my name is Thondup Sireng, and I own the unit where Gombo is being run. So what I'd like to state is I fully understand the need and the value of music that Gumbo has been playing. At the same time, I also understand the folks who are living on the third floor, their right to a quiet night's sleep. And since it was brought to my attention that this hearing has been scheduled, I have reached out to folks on the third floor, hoping to arrange a meeting so that we can talk and figure out some solution that works for everyone. Unfortunately, I was not successful with it. There was also a desire from Cassidy to meet with the condo association, and I've tried to arrange that meeting as well, and I was not successful at this time. And I think one of the main reasons may be because there is a hearing. Everyone, I think, wants to wait what the outcome of the hearing is going to be, and then perhaps take the next step. But that's where I personally stand. I also want to clarify that there is a letter from the condo association supporting the third floor residents' right to a quiet night's sleep. When we were shared that condo bylaws, I did not see the whole description, but at the bottom of that description, as Cassidy pointed out, there was a clause that specifically said that nothing in this paragraph will constitute to limit a normal operation of a retail store, including a music store. And so my question to the commission is, under Northampton zoning bylaws, does a restaurant fall under a retail store or not? I think that clarification would be helpful. That's all
Sure.
I have to say.
I believe it is a separate zoning. Annie, can you confirm?
Yes, so I'm going to see if Commissioner Ross can answer this question.
Is he still here?
He is.
Hi. So under zoning, let me get back there. Under retail and personal services, it reads the sale, rental, or repair of goods and or provision of services, including antiques, apparel, appliances, home use, art supplies, bakeries, barbershops, beauty shops, books, cameras, card shops, china and pottery, draperies and interior decorating supplies, drugs, film, developing and printing, floors, fruit, furniture, gifts and stationery, grocery, hardware, housewares, and home furnishings, jewelry, laundering and other garment servicing, music, newsstand, novelties, paint, shoes, pet supplies, and pet grooming shoe cleaning or repair, specialized food, sporting goods, toys, tailors, vegetable markets, and other similar places of business, including discount food and merchandise clubs. So for zoning purposes for the liquor license, they're classified as a business use group because of their occupancy is at 42. So if they were large enough to get an occupancy of 50 or more, then they would be an A2 restaurant.
But right now classified as business use.
Correct, because they got an occupant load of 42.
Yep. So not classified retail, but not classified restaurant.
Building code wise, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Because in order for retail under building code to be mercantile resell goods, which they don't sell the goods. They closely resemble a restaurant, which would be an A2 use group, but because the occupant load is under 49 or lower, they're the B use group.
Okay, thank you. Fondup, did you have more to add?
No, I think that clarification that this is neither classified under retail or restaurant is helpful.
Okay.
But I think that based on the condo association's law, since it doesn't include retail nor the restaurant, clearly it is something that the condo association, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, then we'll have to make a decision.
It sounds that way, yes. Annie, I don't want to go by my list because I don't trust it now. Who did you see as next?
I think Eamon is next.
And Eamon, we're ready to hear from you.
All right, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
All right, I just wanted to echo a lot of actually what Jordy said. My name's Eamon Malloy. I'm 47 years old. I grew up in Hatfield. I've lived in this area my entire life. I've lived in Northampton now for 20 years, including downtown Northampton. I currently live on South Street. And honestly, I love what Cassie is doing. I've been there many times. I've never felt that it's ever been too loud. In the post-COVID world, the lack of entertainment in Northampton is what's the best way to put it? Extraordinarily noticeable compared to somebody who grew up here, spent their whole life coming here to see music and see music venues. And I just think that we should be embracing wholeheartedly what Cassidy is doing, because he's creating community. He's creating a place for people to go. He's helping revitalize downtown Northampton, which I think is something that is sorely needed right now. That's all I really have to say.
Okay, thank you so much. And Annie, who do you think is next?
Miriam's next. Miriam, excuse me.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Amazing. Hi. I just wanted to say how nice it is to hear that all of us are discussing live music and entertainment. That's what this entire meeting has been, which shows that it's on all of our minds and we all care, which brings me a lot of joy. I moved to Northampton 4 years ago. I went to Smith. I recently graduated and I moved on South Street. And I've been going to Gombo's music nights every single week, basically, since December on Thursdays. And it has been like a very important third space for me and a lot of other people who have felt a lack of third spaces in Northampton. And I mean, everything that's needed to be said, I feel like has been said. I just want to reiterate that Cassie was only doing these on Thursday nights from 9 to 11 p.m. That's when we had live music. At 11 p.m., it's like very promptly cut. And there has not been lingering, according to like what I've seen personally, of any people or musicians past like 11:30 max. He recently added Friday music nights, which was, I think, like less than a month ago. So now it's 2 days a week for 2 hours. And I guess I just want to make known how important of a space it has been for people to gather and how much of a need there is for that in Northampton. And it seems like that is already on everybody's minds. So that is all I have to add. And I hope the condo association can work this out and take into account some sort of compromise that will meet the needs of the community that Gombo is fostering and also the tenants and their needs. So yes, thank you.
Who do we have, Annie? Is it?
We have Tablet, and we'll just need a name for the record.
Hi there. Can you just let us know your name for the record? Oh, you're still muted.
Hi, sorry about that. For the record, my name is Mark Griska. I'm a longtime resident. Well, I'm a longtime resident, 40 years of Northampton. And one of the things that drew me to Northampton was the vibrancy of the arts scene in Northampton. And during the pandemic, it basically crushed entertainment in downtown was a ghost town. So it's nice to see things are picking back up again. I volunteer a lot of my time at the Iron Horse, the Parlor Room, and the Academy of Music to support these organizations. And I think what Cassidy is doing is wonderful. The Northampton used to be a big jazz town. It's coming back, which is really nice to see. It brings in a diverse audience, and it's a very convivial and welcoming atmosphere. This past Saturday, coincidentally, I sat outside Gombo with a friend of mine for dinner, and there was a DJ playing at the T-shirt shop up the street. There was music happening at what used to be the Fire and Water Cafe, and there were throngs of people in town. And I said to my friend, I said, it's nice to see people back in town again. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you so much. All right, Annie, who's next?
Yep.
Shireen.
Oh, there you are. Hello.
Hi. My name is Shireen, and I'm a patron at Gombo. I try to go once a week. It is my happy place. I just want to speak to a few things. Well, basically the integrity and the act of service, the generosity by Cassidy Bowman. In particular with my own mother, who I brought in. She's about 90 years old, needed wheelchair accessibility. I insisted we didn't need the ramp. He was right there holding my mom, helping her up and down to decline and to enter and to leave. Just the amount of graciousness, heart. I see Cassidy just as he said, and I'm so glad that he's aware of it, of how he extends himself and how he operates his business. And it really is a labor of love, I'm sure. My parents owned a restaurant, and I really see that. This is a very unique place. And I do want to also really point out that it's not even 2 hours. It is less than that because the musicians take a break. They take, I would say, without any exaggeration, no, there's like a 10-minute break. But it's less than 2 hours. It's 2 times a week. And it's just, I am from New York City, moved out to Northampton 6 years ago. So I really missed out. It was 8 months before COVID lockdown. And I really missed out because what I'm hearing from people now is, it's not the same place that it used to be. It's dead. And that's, I come to this place, I go to Gombo and I'm just relishing. I'm one of those people thanking Cassidy many, many times. And I just love that one of the musicians that spoke just about, community and mental health as well. And I want to say the last time I was there was someone that came in off the street. He wasn't even paying any money to the establishment. And the welcoming, the accessibility, this is a very unique place. And I do really sympathize. I lived in an apartment 41 years of my life in New York City. I understand it could really suck to have people below you and on top, and you hear the vibrations, but I could really empathize with that. But there's a bigger picture here. The other thing that I'm concerned about, and I'll leave it at this, but we're talking about closing down music that is blues and jazz live music that brings so much cultural and racial diversity, and shutting down Black music in Northampton. It's already lacking so much of racial and cultural diversity. I don't know any place in Northampton. If there is, someone tell me. I have not found any other place to go where I can hear live music and just be in a room, a space that is so respectful. yeah, and I just think I'm really grateful to Cassidy again, and I want to say it here for what he brings to this community, to Northampton. It really does pick my spirit off the ground, and I know it does so for anyone that I bring there, including my elderly parent. So thank you all for hearing me out, and I hope a decision can be made, and I hope that it can be found reasonable that Northampton downtown Main Street has live music Thursdays and Fridays nights for a little under 2 hours. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Annie, which hand was next?
Amy Hutchins from the Department of Health and Human Services.
Excellent.
Hi
Thank
there.
you.
I'll just speak to how Gombo's permitted. They are permitted as a food service establishment and also a bar. That's how we inspect them. And there are other food service establishments that are also retail, but they are not one of them. There's food service establishments that are just retail, but Gombo is food and bar.
Awesome. Thank you for that clarification, Amy.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, Annie.
Yep. We have Ruth Griggs.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for hearing us out and taking this opportunity to lend our support for what Cassidy Bowman and his staff are doing for downtown Northampton. I'm Ruth Griggs, and I'm the president of the Northampton Jazz Festival. And I believe that what Cassidy is bringing to Northampton, as others have said, is truly unique. He exemplifies the spirit of Northampton in his generosity, in his authenticity. He is not bringing music to Northampton because he wants to make a lot of money from it. He's doing it because he believes in the value of music to improve the lives of people that come to his establishment. I have been there on many occasions, and I have been struck and delighted by the diversity of the folks that are there. I love that so many young people attend Gombo for the music, and it is for 4 hours a week. It is lending a spirit to downtown Northampton that we are all craving and that we all deserve. And I really feel concerned that one individual may shut down something or is trying to shut down something that is bringing such joy to hundreds, if not thousands of people. So let us maintain that perspective. And I appreciate again the opportunity to speak. Thank you, commissioners.
All right. Oh, Annie, we can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying we have Tamara Bowman is next.
Hi.
Thank you.
You can hear me, right?
Thanks. Yeah.
So I want to be off mute, or yeah, I want to be very quick because Cassidy and I have 4 children and many dogs, and it's a very loud house. But so, I'm very consumed with our home life and work life. So I'm sort of been like an owner of Gombo on the outskirts, and watching it grow to what it is right now with this music scene is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, but it's also one of the most thoughtful things I've ever seen. And it's just the kindness and the healthiness and the thoughtfulness that goes into every decision and making everyone happy is just, I've never seen anything like it. And to have that place twice a week, it's my time to be there and to feel the most beautiful vibe that everybody talks about. And I wanted to say that as someone sort of on the outskirts, but also involved, it's been a pleasure to see it grow, and I want to continue to do that.
Thank you.
We have Camilla.
Do we still have Camilla? There we go.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, it's a little bit low for me, but I just
Wanted to share, I am a longtime resident of Massachusetts. I went to high school in Amherst and now live in Northampton off of Market Street. And I echo what a lot of my neighbors have shared today, that Gumbo has cultivated a multi-generational space that really is one of the few lasting communal spaces we have in the city. Particularly where Black artists are able to share their music, especially in a time where so much of Black art and education is being suppressed. One of the things that makes Gumbo so special is not only that you find so many members of our community across all ages and cultures in Gumbo, but also that Cassidy, the moment you walk in, greets everyone and makes an emphasis to seat you at tables with other members in our community. And so you will find yourself on many nights sharing a table, enjoying music with other of your neighbors who you may not ever have had a conversation with or engaged with elsewise, otherwise. And so I understand, like, I support tenants' rights, but I also think that it's particularly important in this time to not focus on individualism and to make compromises, like having 2 hours of noise, which I know can be taxing, but is worth it when both children and elders and young people and teenagers can all come and share an experience like this. I think it's not only an educational opportunity for the residents of Northampton to experience music, not only an opportunity for musicians to, have their careers platformed and their work appreciated, but it also really is a learning space. And I have a dear friend who just published a book, and we are working with Cassidy to present her book at Gumbo as well. So I think that this space has just the potential to become such a cultural learning hub for the city. And Western Mass has always championed being, a pioneer of education. And I think to stifle this and compromise this and steal this from the community on behalf of one individual would be against the values and the reason why people come and stay in Western Mass to begin with. So I just want to say thank you to Gumbo and everyone who makes that possible.
Thank you. All right.
And we have Counselor Perry.
Hello. Sorry,
Hello,
I'm cooking up food, but not as good as Gumbo. I just wanted to take, sorry. I just wanted to take a second to also speak on this because part of the reason why I brought forward the complaints for Telus was just looking forward. And while we're really now focusing on Main Street in downtown, as we really look towards, revitalizing Leeds and Florence and other places, as we said before, I think it's important to know that the License Commission shouldn't be the only place where these things are discussed. So again, I would move that maybe places like community resources or a subcommittee would be there. And I just also wanted to take a second to talk about non-traditional spaces. When I came here to Northampton, I graduated from Amherst and I'm a musician myself, and I saw a lack of spaces. We were playing house parties, we were doing things, and we started moving into smaller venues, places like Silent Cows, and doing things. And as we've lost all of our music venues, especially the smaller places to congregate, make community, we're back in this cycle where house parties are back again, where non-traditional spaces like restaurants are trying to put on music and fill the void. And I want to salute Cassidy and other places for their creativity. Without our restaurants and our businesses, we wouldn't have things like Summer on Strong. Without our neighbors and folks, we wouldn't have the Doozy Doo Parade. And so, again, as most people said, while it's difficult that one person or a number of people are disrupted, I think the greater vitality of our community is dependent on us working together and figuring out ways that we can move forward and giving ourselves spaces and learning and educating ourselves about what music can bring. And I do want to harken back to what Meg said about mental health, and what one of the musicians said is that music is mental health. It takes us away from all the stress. It's a place for people to come and listen and hear. And so I just want to say thank you, Cassidy, and thank you for this commission for listening to everyone and really weighing all of the things. These are not easy decisions or hard or sorry, easy discussions to have. So thank you.
Thank you, Garrick. All right. I know that Alexander did have his hand up. I'm not sure if he's still here, if he wants to add a final comment. I don't think he's here.
He's here. I don't see a Zoom hand or a physical hand, but the screen is black.
Okay. All right.
Oh wait. There was just a hand and then it disappeared. Okay.
Jennifer and Amy, sorry. Did you have any comments or questions before we close the public hearing for commissioner discussion?
No
No.
questions. Thank you.
Okay. Cassidy has one final thing to say.
No, I just want to say that George Crichton wants to talk. He's been here the whole time and he wants to talk. He raised his hand.
Okay, we missed it. Sorry about that. There's been a lot of commenters. Then Annie, we can unmute Mr. Crichton.
Are you now unmuted?
Yes, you are.
Good. I've been trying to say something here and I was getting disturbed that I'm being cut off.
Oh, no.
I want to say Gombo represents a place in Northampton to have Black musicians and white musicians mix, and also the mixed audience. And Northampton is one of the places in this state that has a really good music scene. And what I'm seeing tonight from some of the complaint here is someone would like to stifle that. And I think that's a very sad thing. Gombo represents a place to go from 9 until 11. And if you think about 11 o'clock, that's when the nightly news comes on. And most people are still up at 11 o'clock at night. So I don't think that we're talking about the wee hours of the morning to disturb anybody. And I have never seen anyone lingering outside Gombo when it is closed. And I think what Cassidy's doing here is a real service to the community. And from my standpoint, I drive from Lancaster, Massachusetts to Northampton to hear music at Gombo. And I do that every Thursday night. And would lose something if this weren't here. Often I've been at the Harler Room or I've been at the Iron Horse, and then I go to Gombo. But some nights I drive in just to hear music at Gombo. And it's very important, I think, to the whole community that this music scene stay lively in Northampton. You don't realize what you really have there. If you lived in Worcester, you'd know. And I live not far from Worcester, and there's nothing there. It's dead. But Northampton certainly has it. And places like Gombo are what keep that going. And I wish there were more of them. So that's about it. And thanks to Cassidy for having this venue available.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
All right. Then if the commissioners are ready, we will, I'm ready for, we'll make a motion to close the public hearing and move to commissioner discussion.
Second.
Sorry.
I seconded that.
Thank you. Natasha?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
And Amy?
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to start, thank you to everybody who's offered their thoughts on this. I want to start by saying, you know, the question of the bylaws has come into the conversation that has nothing to do with us. That's completely out of our purview. We're here to discuss the license and whether or not it has presented a nuisance. That is the scope of the work that we do here. I hope that the tenants and the landlord and other unit owners can have a productive discussion after this, but I just want to make it clear that for the purposes of the commissioners, we're here to talk about the license and whether or not it's a nuisance. So Jennifer and Amy, any thoughts that you would like to share?
I think your question that you asked was the exact question that I had, was whether there had been any sound mitigation efforts done. And that to me seems like a very basic and easy first step would be to ask Gombo and ask Cassidy to look into what could be done in that space that might mitigate the sound enough to where this isn't an issue.
Yeah, there's never been music at any of the prior establishments there, so it would
Right.
be nice to start. Jennifer.
Yeah, I feel exactly the same. I think that conversation would be worth having, and I would like to hear the results, at a next meeting.
Okay. I don't feel that I understand the disturbance for residences, but I feel the low number of hours where the entertainment is happening and the unknown possibilities with a sound mitigation system, I don't feel that this conversation warrants altering the license as it stands right now. I'm open to hearing if the commissioners feel differently about that.
I feel the exact same.
Yeah, I feel the same.
So similar to what we've just done with TELUS is I believe our motion will include an ask for the license holder to move forward with some sound study to explore options for sound mitigation.
Question.
Yes.
I guess I'm thinking only because this is the first time this has come up.
Yep.
And whereas TELUS, I feel like it's been talked about and things have been tried before. Is a sound study the right first step, or that feels to me like can they try putting in, I don't know. That feels like a very formal first step. It's getting
Sure,
late
I
in the
think
evening.
I'm just trying not to be vague and by saying
Yes.
figure out how to make it sound less soundy. I don't know what that would look like for a space other than to consult with somebody to figure that out. I mean,
Okay.
like I don't if
Okay. Yeah. I think we could word it as talk to a sound consultant or work.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
I just don't think there needs to be a 30-page study done that
Totally fair. Totally fair. Look into
especially
some mitigation. Yes.
yeah.
And I think when Majestic did it, and these two spaces are similar, the Gombo space and the Majestic space, sort of similar in scope, and construction in these buildings downtown. I don't think they had a formal sound study. They had somebody come in and consult with them and how to figure it out and what that resulted of some materials on the walls and the ceiling. Thoughts on that, Jennifer?
I just feel that I didn't get reports. I don't believe the commission had reports from Homestead or Majestic that it was a burden and a very heavy burden. So I do think to reassure Amy that this is a feasible ask.
Sure. And I think in light of everything that Gombo brings versus what they would stand to lose, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say they would be willing to do this.
Yeah.
Yep. I also believe that.
All right. Then I believe we are ready for a motion.
I can try a motion. I would like to make a motion to request that Let Me Be Lucy LLC DBA Gombo Oyster Bar located at 159 Main Street work with a sound consultant to identify ways that they might mitigate the sound within their restaurant space and provide us with an update on the results and next steps, ideally at our next meeting or whenever is realistic. I guess provide us with an update at our next meeting, understanding that you may not have answers.
Before we move to a second, I just want to see what Cassidy's question is.
Can I just get a second so that we have a motion on the floor?
Yep.
Yep. I second.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just have a question. I don't own Gombo. I can't make changes to that. Thondup owns that space. So who's conducting this study? Who's reaching out to this consultant? Who's doing all this?
You hold the license. So as the license holder, if you would like to continue to have the music, then I think it's behooves you to reach out to somebody to come in and help you figure out that space. In terms of who's paying for it, that is not our purview to dictate how that happens. I understand your point, though. You don't own the space, but I think you all are going to have to do some more collaborative work together on moving this forward.
I could reword my motion, however, Natasha, it is a point that when we did the motion for Talus, I included the property owner.
Sure.
So I can make a friendly amendment to my own motion.
Sure. Before you do that, Cassie, are you opposed to moving forward with some sort of exploration on how to mitigate sound?
No, I'm not opposed to it. I do think it's a pretty harsh first step. I mean, you know, but we're going to do it. I personally, given the complete unwillingness of both the complainant and the condo board to even pick up the phone or even come introduce themselves, I think this is going to be a massive, massive burden on me financially, physically, emotionally, to a place that I don't even own. Why not talk to the people that own this place? Why doesn't he put soundproofing in his floor and in his walls and maybe get double pane glass on the windows? You know, it's I think this is a pretty harsh first step, considering that we play
I need you to let me
blues and jazz, nothing to the level of what Telus does with 289 noise complaints, and this is one. But we're going to do it because of everything you've heard prior to this. We're not going to give up on this town, but this is pretty harsh.
Yes, I need you to let me speak. I'm chairing this meeting. When I ask for a moment, I expect it. That was really rude, okay? Hear me out. We started getting noise complaints after COVID when we started putting all these entertainment licenses out in the world. We are learning as we go how best to help the license holders hold their license. I don't want to take your license away. I want to know how the music that you're having in your space can best be maintained in your space and stay there and have the sound mitigated so that you can continue doing it for as long as you want to. That's what I want. The harsh thing would have been to have changed your license. We're asking for exploration. We're asking for information. That's all. That's all. I can't tell the resident 2 floors up what he should put in his space, and I'm not telling you to put in your space. I'm asking for some openness to explore it so that we can move past this. That's what I'm asking for. The harsh thing would have been to have made some changes to your license, and I have no interest in doing that, to be perfectly honest. So I'm very surprised at your outburst just now, honestly. You have not, I'm sorry, you're not recognized right now. All right, can we go back to the commissioners to restate the motion?
So we have a motion on the floor and a second. Is there an amendment?
Amy was going to suggest an amendment.
Okay.
I will amend my motion to ask both Let Me Be Lucy and Board to work together to explore sound mitigation in the Gombo space.
I second.
Natasha?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
And Amy?
Yes.
All right, moving on. Item number 7, we have a discussion regarding requested invoices from 41 Strong, LLC, DBA, Bishop's Lounge. So at our last meeting, prior to our last meeting, it had been brought to our attention that there was a possibility that the license holder was purchasing liquor at a retail establishment. So we asked them to provide us with receipts showing that they had, in fact, not been purchasing liquor at a retail establishment. Did you guys have a chance to review what was sent to us?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And any thoughts on that?
My only thought was I was unclear about what window of time actually we were looking at once I got to the end of these receipts.
Yeah.
Like I thought the receipt covered the period of time that they covered, but when I went back to look at the minutes, I'm not sure we were clear enough, or I wasn't clear enough on the time.
So the receipts covered the end, the lead up until when the business closed, which was the period of time in question. And so I think they were May and July, the receipts we saw, Annie.
I think there was some from January and March.
They covered January to June.
Okay. So, I mean, it's almost arbitrary because there's no way to know beyond some of the receipts that were provided were additional liquors purchased at a retail establishment. I think the bottom line is, as a license holder, she is aware and now reminded that any purchasing of alcohol at other establishments is a violation of the license.
I think that was fine. That's fine with me. There was no glaring gap that leapt out at me.
Yep. Any further discussion on that item, or are we ready to move on?
Well, I guess I would
moving on. No,
just ask
sorry.
Natasha and Annie, I mean, nothing in addition to what we received. I mean, we didn't receive receipts from anyone else.
You have everything that I received.
Yep. Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, there was a couple of the big distributors and I think Berkshire Beer. All right, satisfied to move on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Item number 8, we have a discussion and possible vote regarding 3.2 rules for extended hours in the city of Northampton from the rules and regulations of the Northampton License Commission. So we are reviewing this is the 1 to 2 a.m. Closings, and I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, I think it was Counselor Perry who brought this up at our last meeting. I feel even, first of all, the list of places that are open 1 to 2 is very short. There's only 3 establishments who are open at that hour. And I feel very, I know it's a nuisance for people who live downtown to have a bunch of people roaming around when places close, but I'm very reassured by the conversation that we had and the information we received from the lieutenant from the police department and the attention that is given to those hours downtown when they're perfectly aware that these establishments are letting out.
Agreed.
I think I would have additional questions tonight if we didn't have the police department representative go into the detail that he did. And I'd say based on that, I'm not inclined to move to make any changes.
Agreed. I see Garrick has his hand up, so I do want to recognize Counselor Perry.
Here you go. Hi, again. So I also was very thankful to hear from our police department. But one of the reasons why I brought it up was just as someone who has worked in person to guard a door had come up when I worked at Bishop's or places like that. So that's the only reason why I really wanted to bring you guys to change it, but just also as we, currently we only have 2 or 3 places open, but in the future there might be, and it might be a hindrance for folks. And I was just wondering what the impetus for making the rule was in the first place, or if there was exceptions that you could make for that in terms of how it's enforced. But I was really moved by the lieutenant talking about how it helps kind of guide people out. So thank you.
Yeah, totally. You broke out a little bit in your comment. I'm not sure if that was true for everybody else.
Yeah. I couldn't understand his question.
Okay. Could you just reiterate the impetus for this conversation and what question that you had?
Yes. Hold on one second.
Thank you.
If I did not flip that over, it would burn. So here, I'll move over here away from the cooking, is having worked in this space is one of the hindrances or a burden for having a 1 a.m. no reentry was having an additional staff to have to watch the door. So if you had a place which had multiple entrances, and I thought it could be prohibitive to folks who might want to in the future be open past 1 a.m. I know that there's only 1 or 2 places right now, but a lot of what I brought forward was that. And I was wondering what the thought was for you all coming up with a rule. And I really, it was informative to hear from the lieutenant that it helps them to kind of weed folks out. But I would also push back that if someone steps out for a cigarette and all their friends are out there, it doesn't dissipate a crowd. It actually causes a situation where people are trying to figure out what to do. So I'm just, you know, I'm not looking for a solution, but I just want to start thinking about this as we try and reignite Northampton.
Sure, sure. So I'm pretty sure that the language of this rule predates my time on commission, and definitely Annie's.
And mine, yeah.
Yeah, I'm on 9 years at this point. So, and I know there have been conversations about it over time, and I believe Bob McGovern at Packard's was a big proponent of the right of a business to have the option to be open extended until 2 a.m. And I'm pretty sure the thought process around the no reentry was just for safety purposes and also having staffing at the door for safety purposes too. Not sure if that answers your question, Garrick.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for just talking about it.
Sure. And I understand it could be prohibitive having the extra staffing, but I think at that hour, giving all of the things, that it's important that that staffing be there.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Sure. So I don't believe we have a vote necessary on this item. Okay. Then approval of the minutes from September 17th. Is there a
I make a
motion?
motion to approve the minutes from September 17th, 2025.
Second.
Natasha, Jennifer,
Yes.
and Amy.
Yes.
Any new business?
No new business. Annie, do you have anything for us?
I do not.
All right.
Nope.
I think we are ready. I will make a motion to adjourn.
I will second.
Natasha,
Yes.
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
Annie.
Natasha.
Amy did. Oh, I made the motion. Amy seconded. I made it.
Natasha made it. I seconded.
It's
Okay,
been a long meeting. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Natasha,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
and Amy.
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
And thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
Annie.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Feel better, Amy?